So nobody told me this about aquarium tank stands. Now I bought a lot of different tank stands. I have about 4 tanks in here, and I put together this one Petco tank stand that's for like a 20 long or a 29-gallon tank, and it's like MDF or it's actually particle board, and they go together fine. And that's not a whole lot of weight, but once you start getting to, I'd say maybe 55-gallon, definitely 75 and above, you're going to want to make sure that you have a solid tank stand. So here's what happened. So I got this tank stand on Amazon. It was, I think, like $200, and it had metal sides, and then in the description it said real wood. So I was like, okay, if it's real wood, that should hold up pretty well. Plus with the metal sides, everything should be great, right? So I get the stand, I put it together. I realized that it's just the particle board. It's the thin particle board for like cheap furniture, but it still had the tubular steel, which should be pretty strong. And it also had these adjustable legs so that you can level the stand. Now, I put my 75-gallon aquarium on there with substrate, rocks, decor, and then water. So we're probably talking at least 800 pounds on this. And everything was fine at first. So I'm sitting here at my desk, I'm working away, and then all of a sudden I hear this loud boom. And I'm like, I look over and I see my aquarium is tilted to one side. Both of the legs on the left side, the adjustable legs collapse at the same time, and it moved the tank down 1.25 inches. And so I was like freaking out at that point. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And so I just got my bearings straight and I emptied the tank. And luckily I have a pump and I can just pump out my water through the window. So probably about like 10 minutes later, I had most of the tank empty. I just wanted to take the pressure off because that puts pressure on the glass. That's one thing. If you have an uneven tank, even like a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch over 4 feet, it doesn't look like much, but you have to think that you have 700 to 800 pounds of water inside that aquarium. So if it tilts just a little bit, you're getting all that pressure on the glass. I mean, you might be okay for a little while, but at some point, that glass is going to burst out if there's too much pressure and it just can't handle that pressure. So I wanted to make sure I was researching it a little bit before I did anything, just for a few minutes, but I quickly got all the water out. Thankfully, I had a 48-gallon already set up. It was a grow out tank, so I was just letting them get a little bit bigger before they moved in with my larger fish, but I just put them all together, and thankfully they got along just fine. And so I started looking at building my own stand. And so one of the things that came up was the king of DIY, and I learned how to build a stand, and I'm gonna do a separate video on that because there are a few things that I wish I would have known after watching those videos. I still had some questions, and I don't think there's like just a really good tank stand build video that shows you all of the just little ins and outs of building a tank stand. But if you're going to have a larger aquarium, I would say 75 plus, you have to build your own tank stand. So I built a tank stand. I'll put it up here on the screen. Now this tank stand, it can carry 8,000 pounds. So it's rated at basically 8x over what I have in there. And I feel completely safe with it. So obviously you have to have your own tools, and it helps if you have like a miter saw and a table saw, jigsaw. You have to have some power tools to create your own tank stand. But I tell you what, it's so worth it. It probably took me about 6 hours to do this, and this was my first time just like fumbling through it and trying to watch the videos and then make sure I had all my cuts. I definitely learned some things through the process, and I think it came out really well in the end. But as I'm setting everything back up, so I build my tank stand, there's a couple days there, and this is the whole reason why I haven't created a video. And I make the tank stand, put it in, I shim it, make sure it's level. I put the 75-gallon back in there, I do the decor the best that I've ever done a tank setup. I just think it looks beautiful, and I'll show it on the screen here. But I absolutely love this setup with the driftwood, the river rock, all the different plants. And I'm just sitting there and I'm admiring the aquarium, you know, just for hours, for a few days. Then I get close to it and I was like touching up the glass, and I noticed this little hairline crack. And I was like, what is this? I thought it was a scratch because I took all of the gravel out of the aquarium in the first place in order to just get all the fish out and to be able to move it off of the old stand that was broken. So I thought I had scratched the glass by like kind of like raking the gravel up and dumping it out. And then I look even closer and I notice I have this, like about half of the tank, I have this huge hairline crack going across the front of the glass. And I could feel it with my fingernail on the outside. And then I started researching on ChatGPT to see like, is a scratch, or I was looking at like a scratch or a hairline crack, and they're like, if it's on the outside only, it's usually just fine. But if you can feel it on the inside too, then that's bad. And so I start feeling from the inside, and I can like feel the crack from the inside too. And then I noticed on the other side, so I started inspecting the entire tank, and I noticed on the left side there was another crack, probably about like this long, just very hairline crack. If you couldn't see it from, you couldn't even see it from like a foot away unless you were looking at it like at at an angle. So it was very, very unnoticeable. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole thing's gonna blow out on me after I created my whole stand. And so then I drain the aquarium again. My poor fish, they're just like, what the hell's going on? I drain the aquarium again. I put them back in the 40-gallon. I take out all my decor, all the rocks and sand and everything again. And I put duct tape on it in a grid pattern, because if I'm going to move this thing, I don't want the glass to blow out. I wanted to tape it and just secure it in case the glass did shatter. It's not going to shatter all over the place while I'm carrying it. And so what I did is I went back to Home Depot, because when you're building something, you go to Home Depot like every few hours, it seems. And I built this almost like this stretcher out of 2x3. So I have two 2x3s running 6 feet long, and I connected them in the center, and then I put a piece of 2x4 half-inch plywood on top, so I could just set the tank on there, and then we can carry it from the 2x3s that are sticking out and just easily walk it. That way we don't have to put the glass suction cups, because I have those big glass suction cups to move heavy glass. I usually use those to move my aquariums because I just feel like they're easier to grip. And I didn't want to put that on because then the side of the glass could just like blow out, the one with the crack. So I just had no way to like carry this thing. And I didn't want to get close to it and carry it from the bottom and then have something happen while like my hands are on it, or, you know, one of my son's hands are on it. So I figured the safest thing to do is to build this stretcher. So I build this stretcher. Takes a couple of us to like kind of maneuver it, lift it up in order to get it on the stretcher. I take it to the local dump that aquarium, get a new aquarium, and then that's the point I'm at right now. Is I have my stand. My stand is good, although I am kind of leveling it out a little bit more. That's one thing that I didn't pay close attention to in the build, is when you're building your frame, you have to build it so all of the surfaces are like super flat. I mean, it's square, but I have some 2x4s just sticking up just like a little bit more on one corner than the other. So I'm just going to get a belt sander and kind of level those out. I have been shimming it, but I want to just try to get as level as I can before I shim it in place. So that's where I'm at now. I have that. I'm making those little updates to my tank stand. I have the new tank in my car, so I have to take that out once I get my tank stand in place. Then I'll redo the decor, and hopefully that is the last one. But yeah, glass aquariums, they're like 10 times cheaper than acrylic aquariums, but I feel like acrylic might be the way to go, because you don't have to deal with like these little cracks. Like if you bump it the wrong way, I mean, you can get a chip in your glass. Glass is just very fragile. It made me rethink, like, do I really want glass, especially if it's like a nice show tank, or do you just want to spend the extra money and get acrylic? Because acrylic is a lot stronger, and it's not going to blow out. It would bow before it would blow out. Is from what from just researching different things. But anyways, so the moral of the story is don't buy a tank stand for a 75 gallon up. And I'm sure some of you have probably had great success with that. But me personally, I will always build my own because of like that safety factor, and I know it's so much stronger than that particle board. That particle board can just fail and gets a little bit wet. That'll probably degrade it. But I feel super confident because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 different supports on my tank stand now with vertical 2x4s, and each 2x4 can hold about 800 pounds. So that's 8,000 pounds. That's like way more than I'll ever be able to fit on here. I mean, I could probably put, a 150 gallon or a 200 gallon on this stand and be completely fine. So just having that peace of mind and knowing that I'm not going to have another incident where I had those adjustable legs collapse on me, that's a peace of mind that I want to know. So I just wanted to share that, and hopefully this helps somebody out there who's looking to buy a stand for a larger tank, that at least it'll give you some pause and make you really research and read all of the reviews. Because when I looked at this tank stand and I read the reviews, I saw that some people said they had the exact same thing happen. One lady said that she had it collapse, the legs collapsed on her, and I guess everything was fine, but it like scared her. And whenever you have 1,000 pounds just like slammed to the floor and it's filled with water, like that could have been an absolute disaster. I literally could have had cracked glass, water everywhere, fish on the floor. Like it would have been a complete disaster. And thankfully I was here like while it happened, and thankfully I wasn't like under the tank removing my filter or doing something like that. So it could cause like very serious injury. So it's something to take very serious and to really consider. I mean, spending the little extra time to build your own tank stand to make sure it's like super solid, to give you that peace of mind, that definitely gives me the peace of mind. And I'm not doing anything else going forward. So that's it. We'll see you in the next video.